Hey everybody, I hope you're all doing well. As always, I'm here with an update on what has happened in Washington, D.C. this week. So let's get started on all of it. I want to talk about something that we did very important, is very meaningful to me. I had the absolute honor this week to introduce perhaps one of the most meaningful pieces of legislation that may be for my entire career in the House of Representatives, what's known as the Medal of Sacrifice Act. And I had the privilege to introduce it standing alongside one of the greatest defenders of law enforcement, the President of the United States, Donald J. Trump. The Medal of Sacrifice was inspired by the Medal of Honor when the President and I were speaking together at an event, at a memorial for 3 fallen Palm Beach County Sheriff's deputies. And he was speaking about the fact that there wasn't a medal that goes directly from the presidency, from the president, to the families of fallen law enforcement officers or first responders, firemen, in the same way that the Medal of Honor goes directly to them, and for the purpose specifically of their sacrifice. And he was thinking about the Medal of Honor, and he was thinking about how we should do something like that. And so was born the Medal of Sacrifice. Now, the highest decoration possible for members of the military, that is the Medal of Honor. But again, for members of law enforcement and first responders who've given their lives in the line of duty, there wasn't that same recognition of their sacrifice. And sitting there, being inspired by 3 Palm Beach Sheriff's deputies that I knew and that the president knew because they had been on presidential details. They were motorcycle deputies, Deputy Ralph Waller and Deputy Ignacio Diaz and Deputy Luis Paez. These men, they were dedicated public servants, and they were valued members of our community who will be forever remembered for their sacrifice. But we did know them personally, and so we were just sitting there reflecting about it in this way, and that's what really created the idea for this. And so it was quite a special place to see something beautiful born out of something so tragic. Now, members of their families, they were the first to receive this new honor from the president, and once this bill is signed into law, the president will be able to award one of these beautiful medals to any police officer or firefighter or first responder who has given their life in the line of service. And while I'm hopeful that we never have to give out another one of these medals again, and the president said so much as well, this medal is meant to be a small token, really just it's a marker. It's not just a marker of appreciation, but it's a marker for the fact that there's a debt that can never be repaid. It can't be. But this is marking that debt exists. And it's to give that marker to those families forever for their sacrifice, the person that they've given. The president understands the importance of that token, and I couldn't have been more proud than to be there at the genesis of this idea, and all along the way throughout the creation of this medal. I worked with Eric Trump, I worked with Tiffany's, worked with a number of other individuals, Dan Newland and others, to just work to get this over the finish line. It was really quite a beautiful thing to work on. I want to switch gears to something else we worked on this week. In the House Foreign Affairs Committee, which I'm the chair of, we had a big hearing this week. Secretary of State Marco Rubio came to appear and speak about his first 4 months on the job and his goals for the rest of the Trump administration. And Secretary Rubio and I, we talk often, and I'm incredibly proud of the job that he's doing. We're also completely aligned in our goal of cutting down the bloat in the State Department, ensuring that every dollar and every diplomat puts America first. Secretary Rubio has already gotten started and talked about several of his accomplishments, like ensuring that aid is getting into the hands of those who need it, and that we're no longer wasting your tax dollars on things like transgender job fairs in Bangladesh. Reauthorizing our State Department and reorganizing so that it is efficient and effective in furthering American diplomacy is my top priority as Foreign Affairs Chair, and I'm glad that I had an incredible partner like Secretary Rubio in that fight. And one of the points that I make about just how much bloat there is in the State Department, if you would have looked back 2 decades ago, would have been at a budget of about $9 billion, and today it's closer to $60 billion. So you got to ask that question, has the State Department been 5-6 times more effective than what it was previously. You know, has it been more effective under the Biden administration? Certainly not. We saw all of the massive errors that took place there with the Afghanistan withdrawal and so many other things, but it was not more successful. On the House floor this week, the House passed the One Big Beautiful Bill. It was a long night, and the vote passed. It took place about 6 a.m. in the morning, but I'm very excited about what this bill will accomplish. Most importantly, it's going to make the tax cuts of 2017 permanent. Those were incredible tax cuts. Democrats love to go out there and say, these were tax cuts for the wealthy. Absolutely not. These were tax cuts at every single level. People that were paying 15% on taxes were now paying 12%. People that were paying 25% were now paying 22%, right? There was tax cuts, and the biggest tax cuts were on the lower earners than they were on the higher earners. Most importantly, it's going to make the 2017 tax cuts permanent. That means that Floridians and families across the country won't be facing the biggest tax hike in history, right? We put into place incredible tax reductions, like a doubling of the standard deduction, which 90% of people use, a doubling of the child tax credit from $1,000 to $2,000. I don't know anybody that doesn't like that. We were cutting all of the rates, especially rates on the lowest earners. They went from 15% down to 12%, and from 25% down to 22%, and so on and so on. So instead, they're going to make sure that these tax cuts are permanent and they do not go away. All the Democrats that voted against this bill, they voted to say, I want to see those tax cuts. I want to see the tax cuts go away, and I want to see the taxes go up. That's what happens if they voted no. Instead, we made those things permanent, and we put into place other priorities, President Trump's priorities, like no tax on tips, no tax on interest loans for American-made cars, as well as more resources for our Border Patrol so that we can deal with the crisis that Joe Biden allowed to take place on our southern border, make our country safer and stronger and more prosperous again. This bill is headed over to the Senate, so we've still got some work to do, but we're headed in the right direction. We got it through the House of Representatives, and as always, I'm going to keep you updated on that. Lastly, as we head into the long weekend, I want to share a quick message about the importance of Memorial Day. Memorial Day, it's personal for me, it's personal for every veteran who put on our nation's uniform, served our country, lost friends. For every one of us that made it home, there are countless others that did not make it home. I wear the name of a number of those friends on my wrist. These soldiers, these sailors, these airmen, Marines, these coasties, they signed up with no lofty notions of winning medals or having a movie made of their exploits or a podcast or anything else. They were individuals. They knew the risks associated with serving in the military, serving our country, but those concerns weren't as strong as their love for the United States of America. So this Memorial Day, before the barbecues or the parties, I ask that you take a moment and you just think about all the men, all the women who signed up to serve their country. In that, I wish you all the best. I hope that you all have a great weekend. I look forward to seeing you all around, and you all take care. Hey everyone, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, please click like and subscribe. I will be back on YouTube with more exclusive content, so stay tuned.